Howdy ho guys, and welcome to another Virginian vlog. In this entry I'm looking a bit orange because it's getting a bit dark, and so I had to bring Mr. Lighty Light in here. Just so you can see my face, and like it's not going to get super dark halfway through the video. But yeah, essentially in this entry I wanted to talk about something that I myself often find, which is, particularly as I have kind of gone more out into the real world, because my background essentially is that like I'm a highly mollycoddled person. Essentially, I've kind of, I've lived a relatively sheltered kind of first quarter of my life, and so like it wasn't until I started to come out and live by myself and start to work for myself and earn my own money that like I really started to engage with like life, and for it not to be so like ironic anymore. I don't know if that's the right word for it, but like, I think perhaps, I don't know, like my guess is that like if you're a millennial, like you might feel this sometimes, like when you were brought up surrounded by media, like essentially what that does to you is that like it kind of like forces ideas into your head, and essentially what's the word I'm looking for? Precludes like your own experience, right? And so because like we are physical beings, right? We sometimes forget that when we're watching like a TV show, or like playing a video game, but like we are physical beings, right? And so like life is about experience, right? And like when you grow up like kind of just watching TV or like on the internet, like you can become disillusioned essentially, and like everything seems like, and particularly if your parents were like overprotective, like your life can seem like so like detached and distant, where like like it seems as though like you're literally an like someone playing a video game and you're watching the avatar, and the shit happens to the avatar, but like you kind of like you're detached from it. You're the person you're watching your avatar get fucked up, and you're just watching it, right? And you might have like the emotional stuff that you tend to have when you watch shows and play games, but like still you are not directly experiencing it. And like that's a kind of feeling that I used to have, like I really don't have it anymore, which is, I'm really thankful for that, because like, yeah, for the first 20 odd years of my life, like I kind of went around life feeling as though like I wasn't really here, like, and everything that happened was like a weird thing that like, but like it wasn't really happening. Like it's like, this is happening to me, but is it really happening to me? That was the kind of weird disconnect I felt. But when you kind of start to live for yourself, like you start to then kind of overwrite all of that shit from your earlier years of like feeling so disconnected from life with actual experience and actual thoughts and actual opinions, and then old trite like sayings that you learned before when you were young start to fucking make sense. Things such as you can't lead a horse to water. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. What was the other one? There was like a couple that I thought of recently. I can't think of them at the top of my head, but like just like sayings that you heard when you were younger, that like you hear them, you're like, yeah, okay, I learned this from my fucking English exam or something. But then like when you actually experience something that's related to what that saying is trying to articulate, then you're like, wow, that's like actually a very deep saying that like I'm appreciating deeply for the first time in my life, But yeah, so having come into reality, let's just say, like what this has done for me is that like, well, if you're a spiritual person, or a highly sensitive person, or even a sensitive person, I don't know what the difference between a highly sensitive person and a sensitive person is, honestly. I don't think there is one. Whichever you floats your boat, I guess. But if you are a sensitive person, then like you're probably a very kind of diplomatic person or nice person, right? And if you happen to have that kind of a personality, like you kind of go through your life and like you try to be as good as moral as possible. And that's something that I myself have do still, right? Is that like I try to be like, I try to be as nice as I can to people, right? But like there is one thing that I have come to realize, and that like anyone who has been through something in life, like, you realize that like, and this is going to be titled as entry, but like some people need to learn the hard way. And essentially, because, okay, so like, we as, if you're a sensitive person or a nice person, like you kind of have an idea that like, you are probably quite an encouraging person, right? If I were to give you a choice between like being directive and being like, what's the word? Forceful, let's just say. Basically, if I were to say, okay, like I want you to help this person succeed, you see someone kind of not as fortunate as you or not as talented as you, and you want to help them, what approach would you prefer? A, forceful and directive, or two, encouraging and understanding. If you're a sensitive person or a nice person, you'll hands down pick the second one, and like that's that's the case in my case. Is like, when I see people struggling, or like when I interact with people in general, like I try to be as encouraging and as nice as possible, because like the way that I see it is that like if it's something that I've been through myself, I know how hard it was, and I find it easy to see the perspective where like I've had run-ins in my past where like people who have been forceful have actually dissuaded me away from like trying something and developing myself, or like have their kind of forcefulness has left a mark on me. And so like the way that I see it is that, like, and I'm sure like if you're like a sensitive person, you probably relate to this as well. Like I see myself as the kind of good cop, how there's like a good cop and there's a bad cop, right? And like supposedly the bad cop is there to like challenge people to become better, and like I kind of understand that, like on a logical level, but like I would much prefer to play the good cop, because like I get to be the one who inspires someone and see like the sparkle in someone's eyes, and like even tears maybe from someone who who has met their struggle with love, and understands has had a quantum leap in terms of like what they can perceive themselves doing. Like, what I'm talking about. Like if you're a sensitive person, you probably you love to inspire, because you love to see people empowered and loving and positive and like full of life and wonder, right? That's what you live for. But the problem with this and trying to do this with everyone is that some people will take you for granted, and will take the encouragement and the support and the care that you show to these people for granted. And it's highly unfortunate, and it's highly frustrating, and it's highly saddening, honestly. It's sometimes it doesn't, not exactly break me down, but like it hurts me sometimes, but that's what you will find, is that, and not only other people, but like with yourself as well, because we are the gentle, light working souls, who like only want to empower, you know, because it's not all about weakness, you know, it's about empowerment, but it's like a very kind of gentle, you know, and benevolent kind of a pull. But like, the reality that you will find, and that I have found, is that sometimes people need to learn the hard way, right? Because, for example, you might go to work. You might go to work and you might try to help everyone there and like to support everyone because you see the workforce, you know, your colleagues as like part of this family that basically needs to support each other so that like the team doesn't collapse basically, you know, and like everyone's miserable, right? So like you try your best to support everyone, you know, if someone needs help, you help them. If they make mistakes, you give them the benefit of the doubt. Because like, you know, it's like, hey, it's a mistake, you know, like people make mistakes, I make mistakes. And so like, I don't expect other people not to make mistakes. And like, because the way I see it, and I'm sure that you see it as well, it's like, you know, if, as long as a person didn't intend to do that, then it's a mistake. And it's like, it's not a big deal, you know, like, it's not a big deal, you know, like, and like we should support each other when we make mistakes as opposed to like chastising each other, you know. But the thing is, right, you know, like you do this and you will find that, using this example, you know, some colleagues will take advantage of you, you know, they will like be less motivated to do work, and what will end up happening is that you do most of the work, you know. They will become less and less appreciative because like you're helping them so much that it's becoming commonplace for them. And so like, even though, and you're telling yourself, you know, it's fine, like all I'm doing, like, I just want to help them. And like, to be honest, like for me, that's okay. Like I don't care if someone's not that appreciative in terms of like, you know, well, let me rephrase this, you know, I don't mind if people don't thank me constantly because like, I want to help them, you know, it's not as if like I'm expecting something in return, you know, necessarily. But having said that, you know, like I don't want them to take advantage of me and like for my niceness to make them worse, to instill worse habits in them, you know. But like that's exactly what happens with some people. It's like you're nice and you help them out with everything, and then like it makes them lazy, you know, and it makes them more complacent. And it's like, that's okay. Like again, like, you know, I have moments when I'm like, you know, I can't be bothered, you know, I can't be bothered to work that hard right now. But like when it's certain things that get in the way of work and that cause issues for me, you know, and other people, and like you're like, okay, and you basically, you're like, why, you know, why? Okay, you know, I want to be nice, you know, I want to help, I want to encourage, but like if they are taking me for granted like this, like then like I can see how this is going to continue, right? And so eventually, you know, you're going to burn out because like you're working so hard, and like people sometimes aren't appreciative. And by that I mean like they will completely brush aside everything you've done. Like again, you know, most people won't do that, you know, they won't get to go that far. But like, you know, with work, for example, like, you know, and there are pressures, you know, and like they are getting, you know, because someone's gonna have to do the telling off, you know, like it's a workplace, you know, like not everyone is going to be as nice as you are. You know, there's the manager, and like they're not going to pull any punches necessarily, you know, depending on the manager, you know. My manager's actually quite nice. But yeah, like, and when they're told off, you know, because you've been so accommodating, they might sometimes like essentially like slap you energetically, because it's like they might not necessarily say like it's all your fault or something like that, but like they're going to be grumpy towards you or something. And it's like, well, okay, motherfucker, and this is like, you know, where the ghetto side comes. It's like, okay, I've helped you. I know, and you know that you've made mistakes, and I haven't said anything. You know, if anything, like, I've kept it quiet and like given you the benefit of the doubt. You know, whenever you ask me for help, I help you. You know, and yet you continue to make the same, like, you continue to not do things that you know you're supposed to do, right? You have no motivation to learn the things that I'm helping you with, you know, and thus like help me out, you know, and you're being grumpy at me. Fuck you. That's how you feel, you know, like, eventually, because you're like, okay, I'm so nice, I'm so accommodating, I give the benefit of the doubt all the time, but like, it's not helping these people, you know. And so this is essentially, this is work as an example, but like, the thing is, like, as a conscious person, as someone who quote unquote works on themselves, of course, the tricky thing is that like, you are a work in progress yourself, and so like, and sometimes you find yourself falling victim to like your own pettiness, essentially. But like the thing is, like, if you are a conscious person, even though you know that you have flaws, even though sometimes you're like, you know, okay, well, I'll just own my flaws because like sometimes that's the only thing you can do. Like, that doesn't mean you're not going to work on them, but like, you sure as hell feel bad for them, you know. And us conscious people, you know, sensitive people, like, we're hard on ourselves enough already, you know, like, we work hard, we try to encourage other people, and we're hard on ourselves, you know, and that's not going to stop other people from like highlighting our flaws, you know, and that's just, I guess, the sad truth of the world. But like, that's the thing, you know, like, we're not perfect ourselves, but like, at the same time, going forwards, like, essentially what I'm talking about here is setting boundaries, you know. And it's obviously, setting boundaries doesn't mean having to be a dick or having to be a bitch, you know. It doesn't mean that necessarily. All it means is just to like understand what is effective and what is not, you know. It becomes a bit rational, I guess you could say, but like, that rationality is not, it's not like abstract where like, you know, I have to be rational. No, it's just you obviously, you want the best for everyone, you know. You want the best for yourself, you want the best for the people in your life, you want the best for society and everyone you come across. But like, at the same time, like, when something isn't working, you know, when your encouragements and you're being nice and giving people the benefit of the doubt is not helping them, or and by extension you, then you've got to do something else, you know. It's not a personal thing, you know. Of course, like, you know, you can express to them, you can express to yourself that like, all you want to do is to be a good person. I don't think, like, you know, all that we sensitive and conscious people who are trying our best to contribute something in the world and to look at ourselves intensely and scrutinize ourselves intensely, is that we just want to be better people, you know. Like, we get to a stage where we realize that like, there is a side of us that is a bit petty, that is a bit childish, but like, we learn to own that, you know. Like, I get angry, for example. Like, I realize that like, I'm actually quite an angry person. Like, when the anger comes out, like, I get quite angry, and it's like, but I've gotten to the stage where like, I let it out and I'm not apologetic about it, you know. I get angry. Obviously, like, if it affects someone, like, I'll tone it down, but like, I do not apologize for being angry or being jealous or being manipulative sometimes, or being, you know, or being like, you know, like someone who's struggling to get by in life and perceiving that there's limited resources and just snatching things from people, you know. I have that side to me. I'm sure everyone does, you know. Well, I don't know, I can only speak for myself really, but like, at the same time, you know, like, you know, like, you want the best for yourself, you want the best for everyone else, you just want to be a better person, you know. That's the bottom line. And like, it is a paradox, I guess, you know. Like, to be a better person, you have to not resist being a bad person. AKA, you have to allow those unsavory sides that essentially, because we all, well, I judge people. Like, I see people and I'm like, this fucking idiot. Like, this fucking twat. Like, it's just like, why does this person exist? I'm like, why does this person exist? Like, this person is a waste of fucking space. Like, like, and like, I do that. I judge. I definitely judge. And it's like, and you allow it because you know that like resistance is never, it doesn't lead you anywhere. And so you consciously say, I'm just going to be angry. I'm just going to judge this person because it's self-loving to do so, essentially. But like at the same time, you have a higher awareness of like the reason you're doing this is because you want to be as aligned as possible. You don't want, because there is a trap of being too abstract and being a slave of the mind. And this is the thing that's a bit hard to describe, but I'm sure that if you're watching this, you already understand this. It's that what is right or wrong? What action, what symbolic idea is right or wrong? Well, the answer is that it depends. Like for example, like you might, like in this case, what I'm outlining here, you might be nice to someone, but it might actually be damaging them. It might be depriving them of the perspective of being able to see what it is that is fucking them up. And this is what people who are more outspoken are strong with. Is that like they give people the opportunity to see their weakness and their flaw, and to change that. And like it's not comfortable. And so like I give those kinds of people props because I'm like, it's a bit easy for me to do now, like to be assertive and that kind of thing, but like still like I really admire people who are just really blunt, because like they just say it, and like even though it's uncomfortable and it might even be offensive, like at least that like there's no bullshit. Whereas like if you're kind of more nice, even though your intentions are good, like you just want, you could bring in the whole shadow and ego thing into it, but like to be honest, like I think half the time most of us, like again, you could argue, you can make so many arguments, but like let's just take for granted that like when we do this, like we want to help people, we want to encourage people, we want to empower people, but it just so happens that like there is a side effect, unfortunately, that like it will make some people worse, and like sometimes with ourselves it will also make us worse. Like just focusing on positivity and encouragement, sometimes you just have to you have to face the music. Some people just need a fucking kick in the teeth, and like again, like I wish that wasn't the case, but like that's just how it is. Some people need to see just how much of a piece of shit they are. I put myself on that list as well. Like, and it's not, and that does the kind of extra statement to that is like it doesn't mean when you have flaws and when you have weaknesses, when you are a piece of shit, as I so eloquently put it, it doesn't mean that you're a bad person. It really doesn't. It just means, hey buddy, these are a few things that like may not be helpful for you when dealing with other people, or like just going about things yourself. Like you might like here's an objective viewpoint. You can have a look at these. Again, have a look at them, but like don't beat yourself up. But like the thing is, to get to that stage, sometimes people need a kick in the teeth, and it's unfortunate and it's sad, but that's just how it is. And so like sometimes you just have to not be nice to someone. If they're vying for your attention and it's fucking you up and it's like fucking everything up, you just have to ignore them, for example. Or you just have to call them out and be like, you know what? Like I think you're like right now, like I don't like the fact that you're like, or like it's not helping me that like you're like vying for my attention. Like I have other things to do right now. I have other focuses. When friends and family, call you out, like when they're like vying for your attention, and like and you kind of try your best to honor their opinion, like, but like there was this point where it's like, okay, you know, like, I don't mind listening to your opinions, but like, you know, but this is where I stand, you know, and like I get, you know, and I'm not going to budge, right, and like if you're going to be with me, then this is how it's going to be. Unfortunately, you know, again, like I would love so that I would love for, like, you know, everyone to be able to get along, but like unfortunately, if you want to be with me, I can make your wish come true. No, if you want to be with me, if you want to kick it with me, then like here, this is who I am. I'm not going to compromise that, you know. Or rather, like, there is this side of me that I am absolutely not going to compromise on. You know, and being with me means that like you're going to have to face this. It might challenge you to look at yourself, and that might make you uncomfortable. And you might want me to stop being who I am, but like, what do you expect me to do? This is who I am. If you're going to be with me, you know, I don't mind compromising a little and like entertaining your opinions, you know, because that's life, you know. Like it'd be stupid if we were all just really rigid and like, you know, never compromised ever. But like, if you want to be with me, I'm a genie in a bottle. You gotta rub me the right way, man. No, you will be challenged, or you will be made uncomfortable, you know. And like the same is true with me, you know. Like if other people are unwilling to compromise, then like I can be a bit unwilling to compromise, you know. I hope like, you know, I'm clear in what I'm saying. It's like, yeah, you know, this is I guess primarily, you know, if you want like a why am I doing this entry kind of thing, like in terms of who am I talking to really, you know, who am I selling this to? I guess it would be like nice people like myself who like are just too nice, and like, you know, we legitimately believe that like being nice means like, you know, because we want to be the nice person, because like we see so much assholery in the world, and like people being torn down, and like we just want to be that encouraging force that helps people, like gives people the strength and courage and support to like really make this world a better place. And yet like we are faced with like people who like just do not appreciate it. Not even that, like it's not like it doesn't help them. Being nice to them does not help them. And as such, with these people, you just have to like be tough with them. And I say tough, but like you just need to let them, you know, face the music. That's it. They need to face the music, because if they don't face the music, they're never going to change. Maybe they need to change, and maybe they don't realize that they need to change because it's painful. But like maybe down the line they'll be like, you know, actually, thank you, dude or dudette. You know, like I hated you at the time for throwing me under the bus, but like now I realize that like I was being immature. You know, and I'm glad that you gave me a bit of a wake up call. So that's it, man. Like, but at the end of it, you know, the ultimate goal is always for more love and more peace and more creativity and all of that good stuff, right? That is always the ultimate goal. It's just getting there. Sometimes we just need a bit of drama, you know, a bit of reality, you know, stone cold reality. So cool. Hope that was helpful or insightful. Yeah, and hope you're having a great day. Yeah, keep going. Keep going. Keep going, and I'll catch you guys in the next entry. Peace out.